Hey guys, Marauder here with my friend Sandalphan, and we're here to talk about a movie that we got back from a little while ago, but we didn't have time to sit down and really talk about it.
Yeah.
So we'll do that now.
It's been more like a week, but...
Yeah, it's been about a week. We saw this, the movie's Captain America, and we saw this one last Friday.
Yeah, on its midnight screening.
Yep. And so thought we'd talk about it, give what we liked, what we didn't like, and an overall recommendation.
Or what we can even remember at this point.
Yes. Spoiler warning. I'll just say it again.
Yeah.
So, yes. Anyway, Captain America. One thing I have to say is this is the kind of superhero movie I have wanted to see Captain America in. I am the biggest Captain America fan ever. He was always my favorite. I liked him a lot, and it's nice to see him done justice in a film, unlike the Reb Brown ones that I saw that aren't any good at all.
I was vaguely aware that Captain America died recently in the comics. Mm-hmm. But I think he got better.
Yeah.
But I don't think he's Captain America anymore.
Yeah. Well, didn't he become a U.S. agent in the comics at some point?
Yeah, no, I think now he's just Steve Rogers, super soldier.
Agent of S.H.I.E.L.D.
Yeah, I think something like that, yeah.
Anyway, this is the Avengers movie. I mean, obviously this ties into Iron Man, Thor, and the Incredible Hulk. And this is the Avengers movie that I was really looking forward to. Iron Man was great. Thor was alright. Hulk was a really good surprise.
Yeah. Hulk was awesome.
But
the Incredible
this one,
Hulk, not the other one.
Yeah, the Incredible Hulk with
Edward Norton.
Edward Norton. It was a very good movie, and
yes.
And that's how it should have been done before Ang Lee got his hands on it.
Ang Lee deported.
Yes. But Captain America, the first thing that struck me was just how well this movie was shot, at least in the first, half of the movie.
Oh yeah, when they've got Steve Rogers all decked out like a hobbit.
Yeah, they've got him short and skinny, rail thin.
It looked good. It looked real. There were a few times when I looked at him and thought they maybe went a little too far with it. I call him a hobbit. I'm only exaggerating just a bit.
There were times when I thought his head would just kind of snap off his body because it just didn't seem like the right size.
One guy in the movie looks at him at one point and is like, God, someone give that boy a sandwich. Yeah. And he's not kidding. He's like a head shorter than anyone else before he gets injected with the super soldier serum.
But overall, the movie shot very traditionally, very much like a period piece would be shot, which helped draw you in. I especially like the way they set up his character. He's not just this patriotic guy.
No.
He's really just a guy who's sick and tired of being pushed around and wants to somehow fight back, but he just can't because he's so scrawny.
That was one thing that I was kind of worried about going into this movie. It would be very easy to go into writing Captain America and turn him into Toby Keith, but they didn't.
Yeah, waving a giant American flag every 5 seconds, but really he just there's a moment that tells you everything you need to know about his characters. When the German scientist comes in, he's trying to enlist in the army for the 100th time. But he's, obviously been denied because he's too thin and doesn't meet the requirements. But he says, "Do you like killing Nazis?" And he says, "No, sir. I just don't like bullies." And that right there nails his character to a T.
And that scene says something about Chris Evans' acting abilities. Because that line, you really shouldn't be able to take seriously. At all. But he sells it. Yeah, he makes you believe it.
He is very good.
He's amazing in this movie. Originally I was really pissed to hear he was going to be in this movie as Captain America, but then I saw Scott Pilgrim vs. the World, and he's completely makes up for those two Fantastic Four movies.
Oh, yes.
And then he's in this movie, and he's amazing.
It's kind of an interesting film because every other Marvel movie has had a hero that has some sort of flaw. Like, Iron Man was alcoholic. The Hulk had anger issues. The Thor was just kind of had a god complex.
He was a dick.
Right, he was a dick. With a god complex he had to get over. So that was basically the apex of the film. Like, he gets over his problem and solves it. Captain America isn't that. Because he goes in being this just stand-up kind of guy who is flawed, yes, but he just wants to do right. And the entire movie, that's all he's doing is, like, he just wants to do what's right. He just wants to do what he thinks is expected of him because of the kind of character he is.
Yeah, he really doesn't change as a character. He just kind of has to learn to move into this role that he's been put into.
Right. He has this... Yeah, it's more of him accepting his power now.
Yeah.
The ability that he can finally do what he wants to do. And you just really, you root for this guy.
Oh, yeah.
You root for this guy.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, there was a scene where he gets transformed into Captain America, and the scientist dies and everything, and Tommy Lee Jones, who plays the general... who's the head of his squad or whatever, says, "I don't need you in my group. Look what you did. He's dead. There's Nazis in here. I don't know what the hell's going on." And so he basically gets put into a role where he's basically pushing war bonds, which was actually a really clever way of showing the suit and where that suit came from.
He becomes the slap-a-jap for war bonds guy, only not quite that racist.
He does punch Hitler out a lot.
He punches Hitler out a lot, and that's just funny as...
Yeah, that's pretty good.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, he really, and he's okay with that, because everyone's going, well, you're helping. Well, this is your role. And so he kind of accepts it until he goes overseas to perform for the troops, and he's just like...
Everyone treats him like an asshole.
Yeah, everyone throws stuff at him, and he's got that...
It's like, really?
Shield to block with.
Really? I know the suit looked kind of cheap, but he's become a head taller than everyone else in the movie now.
I know, right?
Why wouldn't you tempt that guy into punching you in the face?
But, eventually he does accept his role, and he does get the respect of Tommy Lee Jones.
He just has to go AWOL to do it.
Yeah, he just has to go AWOL. I also like how they tied in Howard Stark.
Oh, yeah.
And they tied in... basically the way they framed the movie, because at the beginning he's just found in the Arctic or whatever, and then at the end he's woken up in New York City, and there's Nick Fury's there, and he's like, "I got something to tell you. You've been asleep for a really long time.
Yeah, we missed you, Cap.
Yeah, we missed you, Cap. You've been gone for a long time." And which sets up the Avengers movie perfectly.
For a guy who fought in Captain America's unit in World War II, Nick Fury looks damn good, doesn't he?
Yeah, he does. Oh, I forgot about that. Oh, continuity. Anyway, this is movie continuity, damn it.
Yes.
This is totally different. Now, that's obviously... So this movie is a lot of fun. The second half of it seems a bit rushed.
Yeah.
Although the only problem is, like, you have to do this thing where he fights throughout the entire war. So they're basically jumping from action scene to action scene, showing him going on missions and blowing stuff up.
That's not a bad thing, though. The action scenes are phenomenal in this movie.
It's really nice to see a guy just punch out another guy.
Yeah.
Finally, without the camera going like this.
Yeah.
When he takes the shield and he just goes pong.
Yeah, and he's belting these fuckers across the room.
Yeah, he's just taking the shield and just it's amazing, and he throws it a lot.
He does a lot of dramatic posing.
Yeah, he does.
In this movie. He's like jumping away from explosions. I kept wanting to hear like a power chord playing in the background.
But yeah,
America!
It kind of. I just kept humming the America World Police song in my head. America, fuck yeah. Coming against it. Anyway, that just kept running through my head every time he was kicking ass. And they got the motorcycle in there.
Oh yeah, they got the Red Brown motorcycle in there for 5 minutes. They got the
motorcycle in there. I was so happy.
Yeah.
So the second half is kind of sped up, but you have to cover a lot of ground and not a lot of time. You got 4 years of wartime to really cover.
Yeah.
And
And they even connected it with Thor within the first 10 minutes.
Yeah, basically the plot is that Red Skull is this... Actually, I liked Red Skull in this movie. They made him a more believable villain. in the comics, he was more just a general that had like a skin problem.
Oh, I liked Hugo Weaving in this movie, and I liked the character. I just wasn't really feeling the makeup job they did for him. Like they did, they gave him facial makeup and a head sculpt, which I support because you don't see that often enough in these movies anymore. But it just looked a little doofy, honestly.
He honestly looked just like I thought he would. But they made him a more believable villain by showing, or at least telling us, that he was a failed super soldier experiment.
Yeah.
Which is like, oh, because in the comics he was just some guy with a red face. Like, it didn't really make much sense why he would be a threat. Whereas in the movie it's like, oh, yeah, okay, so he is super strong. He's got basically all of Captain America's powers just with a red skin. Like,
yeah,
just with that kind of problem. And
but anyway, the whole plot line of this movie is if you stay till the end credits of Thor, then you remember the scientist from Thor meeting up with Nick Fury, and they sling some technobabble around, and then they open up a briefcase, and they have a blue cube in it. And nobody knew what the fuck was going on. And this movie reveals a little bit about it, so yeah, Thor kind of set up Captain America a little bit.
Yeah, basically Red Skull finds the cube, and he's using it to create like space-age laser weaponry.
Yeah. Nazis with laser beams.
And basically
he even gives himself a space mouser, because he's a Nazi.
Yeah. He's got a space mouser. But see, that was kind of my issue, or one of the issues was there was just too much of it. Like, I understand that in the universe you have to accept some kind of scientific give, because you've got a guy being injected with serum that creates a perfect soldier. Okay, but like, everybody's got laser weapons, and they just seem to pump out of nowhere, and they've got gigantic tanks that are bigger than houses.
Yeah.
And
I was wondering, if they had laser weapons in the big one, why are they using regular guns against the Hulk and the Incredible Hulk? You'd think the U.S. government would be on that shit.
Yeah.
But, you know.
It just kind of, I was really hoping to see a World War II movie with World War II era equipment, and you saw that somewhat, but then you had blue laser weaponry that just, I don't know.
I liked how they went over the creation of Cap's shield. It's like, it's made of a special alloy called vibranium, I think?
Yeah, vibranium or something.
Howard Stark has all the vibranium they have in the world, and he made it into a convenient shield shape that had straps in it.
Yep. I did remember like laughing so hard at that. The other thing I like though is when he's using it throughout the film, it actually gets more and more worn out. Like you can see the paint like slowly chip away more and more from every scene. So I just thought that was cool. I was like, oh, they are paying attention to the fact that it actually.
It was a nice nod to continuity a bit. Yeah.
I did like that. But yeah, it was kind of silly. He's just like he's showing him like a dozen shields on a table, and he's just like, you can pick any of these, and he pulls out the round one from the bottom shelf, and is like, what's this? And he goes, well, that's vibranium. That's all we have. It deflects bullets. I'm like, that'd be the first one I'd show him. Hey, this one protects you from guns.
Really?
You want this one?
Really? Because he had one with guns built into it. I thought that was kind of interesting.
Yeah, but yeah, I did like the fact that Captain America used guns.
Yeah.
I mean, he does do a lot of hand-to-hand, don't get me wrong.
Yeah, he punches more people than he shoots, but the gun touch was nice. Because, I mean, you can't send a guy into World War II and just expect him to just punch people.
Yeah. Okay, on to the things we didn't really care for. One, when he goes AWOL and he rescues all the American soldiers from the German base, then he gets back and he's like, I need to create a squad that's going to help me defeat Red Skull. So he goes to the bar and he gets all these characters that he just rescued, and he's like, you're going to be my squad. And they look like very interesting characters. You got the guy with the bowler hat and the weird mustache. You got the Japanese guy. You got like some guy that looks kind of like a drunk. You got Bucky, for God's sake. But then it's like, they don't do anything with them. You never see them again. They're just kind of in the background going,
They don't get developed at all. They're purely to I'm assuming they're fan service to anyone who reads Marvel Comics.
But I don't remember him ever having, I mean, other than Bucky. But then again, Bucky also had a costume. So...
I was surprised they had an Asian guy in their crew. I thought they were at war with them at the time.
Yeah. Yeah, you turn to me, you're like, why is he not in an internment camp?
Yeah.
Which is so bad. But anyway.
No, yeah.
No, but really, that is a question. Like, why is he in the military if the U.S. government at the time was so scared of them they didn't want them involved in anything? But anyway, other than Bucky, which Bucky gets a good amount of character development.
Yeah.
You really don't get to know any of these guys, and it's just kind of like they're all throwaways. Which, okay, like I said, they covered a lot of ground in the later half of this movie, and they did it very well. But that was one thing where I was just like, oh, I wanted to know more about the guy with the bowler hat.
Yeah.
Dang it.
Mm-hmm.
Another thing I didn't like was his love interest.
Oh yeah, with the British chick that really likes to tempt a court-martial.
Yeah.
Let's see. She drives him behind enemy lines, and she tests his shield by shooting at him. If you kill him, I think they'll send you out in front of a firing squad.
But see, like, at the end of the movie, when he's driving the Nazi plane into the ground, they have this like heartfelt moment where she's like, I'll see you at the dance or whatever, and
yeah.
I just didn't buy it. I'm like, I understand that I don't know why they had to force feed you this love story when there was no need for it.
Well, I was believing this one more than the one in Thor.
That's true. Thor were just two really good-looking people who wanted to screw.
Yeah.
That's basically all that was.
I think what might have happened is, I think this movie is supposed to cover quite a few years. And... like when they're flashing through action scenes. I'm assuming it covers quite a few years, so there's more character development between those two than I'm assuming we got to see.
Yeah.
So...
well, no, but see, that's the problem. We didn't see any of it. Like...
saw some of it.
Yeah, a little bit.
Or parts of it.
At the very beginning when he's a thin rail of a kid, she kind of feels bad for him and kind of starts to understand him. And then when he goes off and starts selling war bonds, they don't see each other for a while. Then he comes back to the war front, and she's like, oh, how's it going? I haven't seen you in a while. Which I thought was quite believable. I mean, you know, whatever. And then he's just like, I'm so sick and tired of doing this shit. But then after that, she's just kind of this... I don't know. They play like this whole game where, like...
They do that
Howard
scene.
Stark is they do that scene.
They
where, like,
do that scene in all. She misunderstands. Yeah, they do that scene. That's in every love story where this other girl comes on to him and she sees it and they misunderstand and.
Yeah, and then they have to go through the understanding.
It's like, I don't know. It's like, because you know it's not going to work out because of the way the movie opens. But I was rooting for it.
Well. I know, but it's just like, I just...
I know, it's really got no place being there. It's really only there because you can't...
I just didn't have any kind of emotional investment in it. I was just like, you know, that heartfelt moment that was supposed to tug at your heartstrings at the end when the plane is going down and they're having their last goodbyes. It's like, I understand you probably like each other, but I just didn't see it. I don't know. But at least they handled that scene... the misunderstanding scene better than in Transformers 2 where he walks in on her or she walks in on him like making out with a girl and she's like, oh, we're over, but it turns out the girl's like a Decepticon. And then still after that she's like, I just don't understand why you're like that. And I was like, she was a robot bent on killing him.
Can we please stop talking about that movie? I know
you don't like bringing up. I know we could do an entire 2-hour review of what the movie is. But no, but like they handled that well. You just don't get invested.
Yeah, it's really only there because you can't have Captain America trucking all over Europe with his band of merry men because people have issues with that.
You gotta
issues.
You gotta shove a love story in, no matter how oddly it fits or how unbelievable it seems. Like in Thor, when like especially in Thor, I didn't believe it.
I didn't buy that for a second, that they had this deep, soul-searching connection over the course of 2 days.
Yeah, I can understand that they're both very attractive, and that's about it.
I did like Thor, though.
Oh, no, I love Thor. I had no problem, really, with Thor, except for the love story, which seemed really shoehorned in at the end. But, yeah, kind of the same problem in this movie. Anyway, and Tommy Lee Jones plays...
Oh, he's awesome.
He's awesome in this movie playing Tommy Lee Jones.
Yeah.
Tommy Lee Jones playing Tommy Lee Jones. I'm totally in.
Yes.
Anytime he plays anybody in authority, where he can bark out orders, The Fugitive, No Country for Old Men, he does well. Whereas when he plays people like Two-Face and Batman Forever, he kind of doesn't work because he's not. But this is the role he was meant to be. A crotchety,
he's got the
older general guy who just doesn't want this scrawny little brat on his team.
He's just got the greatest line. And whoever is chosen will personally escort Adolf Hitler to the gates of hell.
Yes, I did enjoy that. Lot of good
right there.
A lot of good Nazi jokes. Oh, I did like the fact that basically like the Red Skull is part of this thing called Hydra, which is like this super secret deep science organization, and he...
Oh, the Hydra salute!
Yes. Well, hold on. So he basically creates all these laser weaponries using this power cube, and he gets all these German officers to come into his base, and they see that Germany's on the list of places to be targeted, and they're like, you can't be a Nazi anymore. I'm going to call Adolf Hitler. He goes, and he's like, oh, I'm sorry, but you must die, and he blows them all up. And then it's like, so he was thrown out of the Nazis for being too evil? That's a first. But then that brings up the fact, like, where is he getting all these soldiers, and where is he getting all this metal to make tanks, and where is he getting all these supplies?
From the Nazis. I mean, he won't be getting any more, but he was only around for like another week or so after that happened.
Yeah, I guess. But yes, that brings up... We'll end this review on this. See the movie, it's great.
Yes.
But there is one thing that I don't think meant to be funny, but it was hilarious. Everybody in the theater lost it.
It's hysterical. It must have looked so good on paper, but it just came out so poorly in execution that it's hysterical every time I saw it, and they do it more than once.
We all know the Nazi salute. We all know what it looks like.
But, so this renegade of Nazis, codenamed Hydra, of course, has to have their own salute.
Their own,
and they've got one.
Basically,
they've got a salute.
Basically, they do this.
Yeah. Hail Hydra!
Hail Hydra!
And you...
Oh!
Hail Hydra!
If you see, there's a scene where there's like a couple thousand soldiers...
All at
once doing this. It's like they're all gonna take off and like go spin around the world a bunch of times.
Try and say anything doing this and be taken seriously.
It's ridiculous.
Boom! Gun show.
Everybody in the theater lost it.
Every time.
Yeah, they do it multiple times.
Like 5 times.
Yeah. So overall, yeah, the movie's kind of silly. It has its problems, but honestly, this is the Captain America movie that I have been waiting for my entire life. It's well shot. It's well edited. I like the first half probably better than the second half, but then again, like I said, they had to cover a lot of ground. It was nice to see a guy in a suit who could punch somebody.
Oh, I know. Aside from The Incredible Hulk, this is the comic book movie that has the best action scenes in it so far of any of the Marvel movies.
Yep. I mean, you go from, like, Batman the Dark Knight, which is great a movie that is, he's obviously not... He can barely move in that kind of costume.
It's nice to see a guy who moves around a bit.
To Captain America, who just comes flying off a motorcycle and just clocks a guy. And then throws his shield. The one thing that made me laugh, though, about the shield was, at one point, he caught it with his right hand. He caught it, and he put it back on his arm like this, and it literally did a ka-kink kind of noise, like reloading a gun.
Nice.
And I was just like, I guess, why not? But it seemed a little out of place, but yeah. Overall, I highly recommend this movie, even with its flaws. I don't know, I'd give it probably like an 8 out of 10.
Mm-hmm.
It's a solid action movie. It's a very good summer popcorn flick.
Mm-hmm.
And I just got really invested in the character, and it was really interesting to see that even without a traditional character arc, that he was still compelling and you still rooted for the guy.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Yeah, hands down probably my favorite one since Iron Man. Because I think Iron Man definitely set the bar pretty high for these Marvel flicks. but this one is the closest I've seen to hit it since The Incredible Hulk, actually.
Yeah.
Which I thought also hit that mark pretty well.
Oh, I love that movie.
Yeah.
Oh, and of course at the end of the credits there's always a little thing at the end. But this one, it doesn't really... It's not really, like, setting anything up. You get the full-on trailer for the Avengers at the end of this movie. And they even give you a date, May next year. But... I don't know. Like, I'm excited for the Avengers, but... Because they're going to have to reintroduce the Hulk now. Because they couldn't get Edward Norton back for this movie.
Yeah.
So let's see.
But that's alright.
Yeah. Let's see. I had something... Oh, goddammit, I forgot. Let's see.
I'm certain you'll think about it.
Yeah.
Since the camera's off.
Right. Oh, no, probably.
3, 2.
2.
Alright, well, I recommend Captain America, and I'm certain you do as well.
Mm-hmm.
Loads of fun. Check it out.
Yes.
Yeah. And also, I have been seeing a lot of movies in non-2D, or non-3D, actually.
Oh, yes. Glorious 2D.
It's very nice to see movies without having to wear extra glasses and be completely confused and have my mind scrambled every single time I look at the screen. So, yeah, just a note. I saw this in 2D and actually had a good time. So if you want to go ahead and spend the extra couple of bucks to get those glasses, be my guest. But I am not one for the 3D much anymore.
I'm kind of done with it myself.
Yeah. Anyway, all right. Well, with that being said, thanks for watching. I'm your host, Marauder.
And I'm Sandalphan.
And we'll catch you guys later.